Hello, Scylla.
Welcome to our Christmas blind date.
Oh, thank you very much.
Now, I know.
If you've ever been a fan of Blind Date, then guess what? 30 years later, I've just managed to catch up with the very best friends I haven't been able to play with for 30 years.
Gorgeous. Yeah. All the lads love you out there. Oh, my.
Massy.
Oh, it was such a good experience. I loved every moment, and you know, some of it's a bit awkward, some of it's really fun. But 30 years on, and we're connecting. I love it.
And Terry.
All you'd really need is a beautiful Persian rug, because I'd bring a camera, and once we're in a dark room, something's bound to develop.
Well, being from Northern Ireland, it was a big thing, and it gave me my 15 minutes of fame.
We're not hiding anything, warts and everything on this show, so make sure you stick around and watch it. The Blind Date Reunion, 30 years later, what really happened behind the scenes. See you there on Blind Dates. So welcome to a very special edition of Speak on Stage, because 30 years ago, there was a show called Blind Date, which was probably the first reality TV show in the UK that got people from who were not part of the family of somebody who was a producer, just normal people, onto a show on Saturday evening to participate in a dating game. And it really took off because there were two TV shows at the time. There was Gladiators, followed by Blind Date. It's what the cool kids went on if they wanted to have a blast. And I am blessed right now to be joined by the two contestants, or the two participants in Blind Date that we did, 30 years ago. Ladies and gents, put your hands together for the incredible Terry McCartney, who competed with me but were best friends forever, and the gorgeous Massy Islami, who got to pick. How are you guys?
Hi.
Hey,
Hi.
not too bad.
Oh my goodness. Well, Massy made a point just before we came on air, which is, oh look, we all have to wear glasses now.
Damn. I need to buy my glasses as well.
Well, 30 years later, so much to catch up, and it's just incredible. But first of all, how are you guys, and where are you guys?
Massy, you go first.
Okay, so I'm in London at the moment. I'm staying with family, ready for Christmas, and I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Just a little bit cold, but I'm so happy to do this. This is great. 30 years. What the hell?
30 years. I thought I'd be dead by now. I should have been.
You're in heaven, darling.
Must be. I've got to explain for everybody. The reason you keep moving all over the place is because you're holding the phone in your hands. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Let's try and do that.
Let's bounce. Look, that's
That's
perfect.
better. That's much better.
Yeah. I don't feel seasick anymore now. So, Terry, tell us, how have you been, sir?
Yeah, I've been great. It's I can't believe it's been 30 years, Dave, and I know we've caught up a couple of times since on socials and that, but wow, 30 years, unbelievable.
Incredible, isn't it? Now, here's the thing. We've got loads to talk about. We've loads to catch up on. But for anybody who's not seen the show, then we're going to do two things. First of all, we're going to let everybody see the show for themselves, having experienced what we went through from our weird experience from 30 years ago. And then we'll come together to post-mortem it and catch up with each other properly. For anybody who doesn't know, as I mentioned before, Blind Date was the #1 TV show. So to illustrate it, there were 14 million people watching the episode we're about to show you, with another 7 million people watching. So that's about 21+ million people watching. Nowadays, your top TV shows like Strictly Come Dancing will get at its peak maybe 4-5 million people. That was before social media. It was probably before electricity. So before we find out who everybody is and enjoy the experience of what we're doing now, here's the episode. Here's the show. Enjoy. You'll get to meet the late Cilla Black, who was an icon in our time. I apologize for the quality of the footage. It was stolen off a TV and put onto VHS and smuggled across the world. And it's back here again. It was the Christmas Blind Date show from 30 years ago. Enjoy. This is Blind Date.
Our three lads the season's greetings. We have Dave, Terry and Tom. Woo! Hello, Dave.
Hello, Scylla.
Welcome to our Christmas blind date.
Oh, thank you very much.
Now, I know what you do. Exciting.
It is exciting.
I know what you do for a living. You describe yourself as an entrepreneur. What kind of stuff do you entrepreneur?
I run my own business in marketing, sales, and media production, doing a lot of different things. Basically, if you've got the cash, I can sort it out to make it happen. That's what
I love your red suit. And I know a little secret that everybody else doesn't. I mean, your sister was on. Your sister Sam, a lovely girl, last October, and she designed her own dress. Now, a little birdie tells me, did she design the
Yes, thanks very much, Sam, for getting it done. Brilliant.
Oh, stand up. Let's have a look at quick twirl there. Look at that.
Well, I'm not taking anything else off. That's as far as it goes.
No, I wouldn't. Would I dare ask you to take anything off?
But with my sister on and like me on, it's like the most desperate family in like Britain. With a dog and the budgie on next, I think.
Well, that can be arranged too. Blind Date can arrange anything. Enjoy the show tonight. Enjoy. Well, each of those three lads is looking for a stocking filler, and have we got a treat for them? Yes, she's from London. Her name's Mass, and here she is. Come in, Mass! Sit on there, sweetheart, all right? Is she gorgeous? Yeah. All the lads love you out there. Oh, my goodness me. Now, Mass, tell everybody what you do for a living.
I'm a belly dancer.
Yes, that's belly dancer. Oh, well, you're a little slip of a thing. I mean, normally...
belly dancer without the belly.
You look gorgeous. I mean, I've got to ask you. I mean, it is Christmas. Could you give us a little bit of the, the old belly? Could you do it?
Sure.
There you go.
Well, as it's accentuated on the hips a lot, I need to tie this around my waist, my hips.
What does that do then?
Well, it just accentuates my hips, really.
Oh, it does. You haven't got any.
Well, exactly. So I need to tie this around. Okay, ready?
Yes.
It's going to be difficult without music. Okay.
Oh. Oh. Away. Away. Big for you, that chair, isn't it? It's like a little fairy on top of a Christmas. Yes, Christmas tree.
Not quite a fairy.
You look gorgeous. Now you've got 3 questions there.
I do.
Are you ready to fire away?
I am.
Well, off you go then.
Okay.
Mass.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Mass. Hi, Mass.
Hi, Mass.
Ooh, happy Christmas.
You too.
And you too.
Okay, my question number 1. Like the 3 wise men, I come from Persia and am full of Eastern promise. If we went on a date together, what exotic offering should I bring to make it memorable? And that goes to number 1.
Hi, Mass.
Hello.
Ooh. Well, if you're from the Far East and I'm from the North East, it'd definitely have to be the 3 S's. That's sun, sand, and a special curry and chips on the way home.
I was a bit worried then. Okay, same question to number 2, please.
Merry Christmas, Mass.
Hello.
Well, again, you're full of Eastern promise. So with your Eastern promise and my Irish blarney, all you'd really need is a beautiful Persian rug. Because I'd bring a camera, and once we're in a dark room, something's bound to develop.
Oh, my God. During our date, we share a kiss under the mistletoe, and the electricity between us sets fire to the tree. How would you put out the flames? And I'll go in the same order to number 1.
Right, Mass. Well, if you and I were having a snog under the tree, it wouldn't just be in flames, it'd be an inferno. And with my smouldering looks and your fiery passion, we'd need the entire fire brigade to hose us down.
Oh, hot stuff, eh?
You better believe it.
Okay. Number 2, please.
Well, Mass, if you're on a date with me, I don't think you'd really want to worry about the fire, because I have my own personal sprinkler system. A bottle of champagne.
Okay, that's better.
But I just hope it's not as flat as my jokes.
Number 3, please.
Well, Mass, it looks like we're the last of the red-hot lovers. So why bother putting out the flames? Because with our burning desires, let's just sit back and enjoy the heat of the moment.
Oh. Mass, it's Christmas, Mass. Yeah, you can't have all sweet, even though it is the holiday. Who will you be kissing under the mistletoe tonight? Don't tell us just yet. Here's our Graham with a quick reminder.
Well, Mass, will you choose number 1, the blazing inferno? One thing you can be sure of, date him and sparks would fly. Or perhaps you prefer number 2, the Irish Joker. He'd like to take you into a dark room and give you a quick flash with his camera. Or how about red hot poker number 3? He thinks you'd make a good Salome. Sounds as if he's lost his head already. The decision is yours.
I have to say, I know it's difficult.
It's so hard.
And I've seen them. They're all gorgeous. No, they're all beautiful. I wouldn't know which one to choose. Who are you going to go for?
Number 1.
I don't know. That's up to you. You chose number 1. That was Dave from Cleveland. Come in, Dave.
Santa's a good lad, isn't he? Santa's a good lad.
Santa, yes, Santa's made your Christmas view. Look at, you fit so well together. Where are you going on your date? Oh, make it a good one. You better make it a good one. Can I choose?
Yes,
please.
yes.
Oh, don't blame me.
No.
This little voice.
Not that one, not that. Oh, it's okay.
What does it say? You have to open it first. What's it say?
A date in Lapland.
I
guess you are. Oh, but Lapland, fabulous, all that snow. You're off to Finland for a festive blind date. You'll take a snow scooter safari to visit the wild reindeer. Oh, it'll be wonderful. Then it's back to your 5-star hotel where you'll be living literally in the lap of luxury.
Very nice.
It'll be a fabulous date. Pack your thermals and make sure you put your belly up and make sure you come back. Come back next week and tell us how you get
definitely.
on. Ladies and gentlemen, wish them well. It's Mass and Dave. Enjoy your day.
So welcome back to Blind Dates. Here we are. The grey hair is real. The only person with no grey hair is a lovely Massy.
Oh, no, it's all there. Died over, mate.
Oh, okay. And mine, this is my grown-up hair, so there's grey everywhere. In fact, I should do this. I should have a show like this, really, shouldn't I? I don't have to do this when I do a podcast. But there we go.
Yeah, my beard's a bit white too.
Terry, you and I, when we arrived on the show, we didn't know who Massy was. We didn't even know there was a Massy. Now, I don't think we can give away trade secrets. Even 30 years later, we still might get sued by ITV, even though probably everybody involved in the show is dead now. But when we arrived, there was another guy called Tom who was there, and we couldn't locate Tom because there's no social media in those days, no mobile phones. If we didn't find each other years later on Facebook, we'd never even be bumping into each other now.
No, exactly. And Dave, and I mean, I don't know how much you remember, but even the process to get on to Blind Date was a long process. And Mass, I suppose we've never asked you either, but I mean, I auditioned in Belfast with a couple of guys that I worked with, and then there was another audition in Belfast, and then we had another audition in London, so we had to fly to London and back, and they were pretty horrific auditions where you were asked to do things just on the hop, and they give you questions left, right, and centre. So by the time I got flown back again, did we record in September or October? Was it before Christmas?
It's before Christmas, but not that long. We're about 4 weeks before Christmas or something like that, wasn't it?
I thought it was
when did you think it was, Mass?
I think it was about September.
Yeah, I thought it was a good bit out as well. But and I mean, obviously at that stage we were told it was going to be the Christmas show, and that you had to bring a suitcase, and if you were picked, which I wasn't lucky enough to be done, but we'll not go there. If you were picked, you guys had to leave straight away after the show.
Yeah, you got to go to Stringfellows and have a party. We were whisked away to hotel rooms separately and told be ready for about 4 or 5 in the morning, something like that.
That's
I think it was.
Yeah,
because there's a flight waiting for us. So while everyone else is just going, oh, let's just get drunk and get off of each other, we were saying, right, whoa, best behaviour, and having to behave ourselves. Now, here's the thing. It might have been in September that it was filmed, but one of the things to go after 30 years is my memory. It literally will start coming back after this conversation, and I look like a complete idiot until then, because so many things happened. So we filmed it, but here's what I remember from it being, for me, saying, I mean, October, September. I think September might have been when we first went along to the auditions, maybe, or maybe even the summer. And then we got the phone call out of the blue saying, it was like FBI. Are you Dave Crane? Yeah. Are you dating anybody? No, I'm not dating anybody. In that case, let me tell you who it is. And then I had to tell my girlfriend that I was going to go on Blind Date, as I'm sure 99% of the people on the show had to do, because you don't hang around waiting, you get on with it. So you went through a number of auditions. I know I went through 2 auditions to be able to get on, and I think that's what swung it was a red suit, because they clearly just thought if he's wearing a red suit, he's going to look like a big Christmas tree idiot, so let's just get him in. What about you, Massy? What did you go through? Same thing?
It was that's the bit that really surprised me, was how many auditions that we had to go through. That was really surprising, and I remember getting the call, same as yourself. But they asked me to bring, to wear my belly dancing costume. I was like, no, please don't wear me. No, I don't want to wear my costume, because I just feel like an idiot. So when we were filming in the studio, just preparing, I had to bring my costume out and hold it up just to see what it looked like. The producer was like, yeah, we want that. So I made it dangle even more and make more noise. And they were like, no, it's too noisy, we can't use it. And I was like, geez, thank God for that.
Oh.
So I was like, no way I'm going to wear a costume.
Brilliant. So, I mean, the thing was, there was me, there was Terry, there was Tom, and another guy who'd been promised that he could get on the show if he turned up as a standby just in case. Do you remember? And he was told that, I mean, he lived locally. And so if one of us hadn't made it, he would get there. But otherwise, if he stayed to the end of the season, he would get his own show as a picker.
Wow.
So the 4 of us were together. And one of the things they said to us, and I really do buy into it, because I've done lots of entertainment things since where I've used the lines, is they said, don't try and make it about you, make it about the team and the episode. And I think that is one of the reasons that Terry and I have massive respect to this date, because this date, I should never say date, it's a loaded word, is we agreed instantly, let's just have fun.
Yeah.
And that's what it was all about. And it was only literally, I think, when they forced us to start getting ready, we thought, oh, it's telly, not just blokes having a laugh and getting on.
Yeah.
And Mass, did you have to do like you were saying? Did you have to do a dress rehearsal with people asking you questions?
No, I didn't. I don't recall doing that, but I remember like hanging around with Dominic Orange. Do you remember? He was the other contestant.
Yes.
And so he looked like a spitting image of his brother, Jason Orange.
Jason Orange from Take That. In case anybody who doesn't remember, Take That is one of Take That.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And they were huge at that time. And we were walking around the studio because we weren't allowed to see you. You weren't allowed to see us. So we were walking around and there was these little girls following him, screaming. And I was like, why are they screaming at you? So that was kind of distracting. But literally, the researchers were walking around making sure that we didn't see each other, because that's really true. You weren't allowed to see each other before the show. So that bit was really scary because I was like, oh, my God, who is it going to be?
Well, the sense was that if we did see each other, they would cancel the show and send us all home.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. And listen, if we had to go to the toilet or go for a drink or a sandwich, we had to go with a researcher, so they would have to go around the corner ahead of us in case we saw you. But what I was going to say was that we had a dress rehearsal. Dave, do you remember this? So we went out onto the stage, and there was just a few people in the audience, and then we had two outfits, as well. Which one did you want to wear? Obviously, Dave was always going to wear his red one, but and then they asked us a couple of questions, and then there was just a researcher asking the questions. But I actually got picked whenever we did the dress rehearsal, but that's my claim to fame.
Goodness me, that's why it's escaped my mind. I don't remember. You know what? A large amount of it was just a big blur. I remember us having a laugh beforehand. I remember us getting to meet the producers and directors and researchers. And then I remember an audience and the show was happening. And it's surreal, isn't it? You go out onto it and you meet Scylla. I mean, I think we met Scylla beforehand, but it's just like, it's like a kid meeting Santa Claus. Is that Santa Claus? It was like that. It was so, but she knew all our names, which was amazing. Which was, I thought, really surprising, but clearly they'd forced her to look at photos and who's that and who's that and who's that, so she was able to make us feel comfortable. But then it kind of begun. Now, here's the thing: when we all got a chance to do the show, I was blessed enough to be lucky to be able to be picked, and I still to this second, and it's probably true, know that Terry was the perfect choice for that date. And I know it, and you saw it. If you see your face on the video, when Terry goes by, you go, oh. And I come by and like, is there another guy? Did we miss something like that? And you could see it. Terry was like, it's okay, Ireland, I'm back. And you could see it in his face when he was on there. Now, here's the thing. When we went through this whole period of the actual show, they edited bits out, which of course they do to try and make it fit into the show. How did you feel, Massy? Did you feel nervous before you were doing it, or did you feel that your entertainment side kicked in as soon as you actually got a chance to start speaking?
I tell you what, I was so nervous because you went, I didn't meet Scylla until 2 seconds before coming on. She just had this sheet of paper, was like, okay, so you're Mass, you're this, that, okay, belly dancer, let's see your belly. Okay, that was it. Right?
Wow.
I didn't get to meet her. I was really, really nervous. And then when I walked down into the studio, the audience was so loud, I couldn't hear anything. So when I was asking you guys the questions, and times when I've rewatched the video, I can really tell how nervous I was. And when you asked the questions, I couldn't hear very well. And Terry wasn't my choice, actually. Sorry, Terry, because when you did that bit with the belly, I didn't know what you were doing. All I heard was this weird, like, hands on. And I thought, what the hell? And I was going to pick Tom. And because he was the only one that didn't say anything funny. But no, and I was like, I couldn't hear, and I know that my brother, I think, was in the audience, or was he there on the second time around? But it was really chaotic, so I just went, number one.
It was bizarre, wasn't it? What were you thinking before you went on the show? Why did you go on the show in the first place?
Well, for me, it was, I think it was like what you said, it was one of those family shows. We all watched it, didn't we? And then it was new, it was all exciting, and then it was gladiators and whatever. And I remember saying to my brothers, so I had 2 brothers at that time, right, I'm going to go on that show. I would ask this and I would ask that. And I got a call one day, and it was in the summer. My brother said, hey, Massy, you know that program, Blind Date? You know, you always said you'd go on it. Well, they're auditioning. You've got to go. And I felt like a little bit under pressure, but a little bit excited because I was a performer, you know. And I thought, yes. And that's why I went on it.
Wow.
In Covent Garden, this big place, and I was like, Jesus. There's a lot of people there taking photos, and yeah, it was pretty hardcore. I was really surprised at how many times you had to audition, but it was really good fun. And I remember, one of the researchers who later went on to be with us for the specific show. But it became
Ted.
Yes. Oh my God.
Do you know Ted was a flatmate of Steve Coogan?
No.
Oh, that was mine.
Yes.
Yeah, I met Steve Coogan because I got invited somewhere to a members club, and I was sat next to Steve Coogan talking all night about waxing.
Wow.
Talking about waxing next for a party he had to play. And then I remember this guy bouncing around, and when I left, I thought I was talking to Steve Coogan, and that was Simon Le Bon bouncing around. It was like weird.
Simon Le Bon.
Yeah.
Wow, you know all the best people.
No, I don't know them. I just realised when I got out because I wasn't. Just
So
a weird. It's surreal, you know.
It was surreal. Terry, why did you go on the show in the first place?
Well, I was working in Belfast at the time in a sales position, and actually we were out for lunch in a local Belfast hotel, 3 guys, and the auditions were happening in the same place, and we just said, listen, for the fun, let's go in here, and as Matt says, you had to take your photographs, to take your details, and we went through the process, and I never thought in a million years you'd make it onto the TV, and I mean, you guys have both said it was massive, in those days. But it was exciting, and it was a terrific journey, and it's something I'll never regret. I mean, it's one of those ones where if opportunity knocks, take it. I mean, that's what you've got to do.
Definitely. For my own story, me and my sister actually went on to the same show. We were just hanging around, and we saw it in the newspaper advertised for Blind Date. And as we can't stress enough, because I know they brought it back again and it didn't hit the same levels. But at that time, it was long before Big Brother, it was long before I'm a Celebrity, long before Strictly. The only things that had real people on were those cheesy family game shows. And so this was one that was cool and a bit dangerous and a bit dodgy for the day. And so I was working at the BBC at the time as a freelancer, and I'd kind of come to my end of my time with them. And I just thought, well, there's going to be something bigger. And what Blind Date was at that time was people would get picked off Blind Date and given a chance to be on TV. That was one of the stepping stones to being recognised by an agent or so. So I kind of threw myself into it just to see. Plus, also a mate of mine a guy called Paul Tungstall had been on, it was at my school, had been on the previous season and became a local hero. And I thought, well, if he can do it, and he was a talented, funny guy, I thought anybody can get up there and do it. Why not? So that's kind of what dragged me in. I did not expect it to escalate because you don't know what you're going for. You might get picked, you might not get picked. And that's kind of how it all went. So, going back to the actual show, you and me, Massy, we answered the question. I answered the questions. You chose me. Goodness knows why, but I'm so glad because we're here talking now. We got us the way to one side. Terry, what happened to you then?
Well, I mean, it was a strange journey from the very start, and I mean, it was in LWT Studios, wasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. So I actually still have the badge that they give me to go into LWT.
Wow!
Yeah, the sticker, the little sticker. I still have. I should have brought it, but so whenever we get in, and Dave, I think you were one of the first people I met, and obviously Tom and the other chap, the researchers and all were very good. So whenever, and I'm sort of digressing a little bit, but Massy, I don't know if you realised, but then we are put into a room with a couple of researchers, and we were given your questions.
That's right.
And I think we had maybe about a half an hour or 40 minutes, Dave, to try and think of your own answers. Then the researcher would come round and they would say, well, listen, what's your answer? And they'd go, oh, no, it's not good, or it's okay, it's fine, or we can tidy it up, and some of the people, if they couldn't, I suppose if they couldn't think of an answer, they helped you with one. So at that stage, you're all meeting, you're all bonding, and then when we came back off the show and you guys went away, we got the lift up to the green room at the top floor at LWT. which was lovely, which was far better than going to Lapland for a couple of nights and falling out. Far better.
When you got whisked away and you got a chance to chill out with everybody, the thing was, there's lots of other people there from other shows who you could all see. It was like a lost island for ex-blind date people.
It was, yeah. I mean, and it was lovely to be up in this big green room. And one of the highlights, and I sent you a photograph, was meeting Graham with a quick reminder.
Yes.
Who sadly passed away just during COVID, unfortunately. But we had a great time upstairs, and then we headed into London, the big smoke of London, which was great. And there must have been 10 or 12 of us, because there's always, like, a couple of shows back to back, and so everybody headed away together, and we decided to go into Stringfellows, which was a nightclub then. And a very popular nightclub. And so I sort of went on in first and sort of got people in, and I got talking to the young lady at the desk, and I'm saying, "How are you?" And she says, "You're from Ireland." And I says, yes. So she says, "My grandfather's from Sligo." And I says, "Sligo, it's only a couple of miles down the road." She says, "What are you doing here?" She says, "Oh, we've all just been," I've said, "we've all just been on blind date." Oh, she goes, "That's great. Hey, go on in free." And she let us all in free. So she did. So it was a win-win situation for everybody.
That's amazing.
Well, last week, Mass and Dave spent their blind date in Lapland.
Snow, snow,
snow, snow, snow.
It won't be long before we'll all be there with snow.
Snow, snow. I want to wash my hands, my face and hair with snow.
That's what I call a very cold shower.
Snowing all winter through, that's where I want to be.
Snowball throwing, that's what I'll do. Oh, I'm longing to ski through the snow.
Right, left, right, left. Oh, my mum's not watching this.
All right.
Now that's a stag night. It's easy when you know how. You just get the grip of it. You just make sure you're clean when you go around the corner. I haven't even brought the dog license.
Fantastic.
It is fantastic if you're down there. Have we got funny looking bums from here? We've got a Rex fix on this.
Whoa, so good to be alive. Motorbiking, 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 motorcycling, moving on the Queen's Highway, looking like a finger-rack.
That was real fun.
It was brilliant.
I think sounds like a piggyback.
Take me away.
You better leave it. We'll go back. Oh.
Well, Mass and Dave, it was all go in the snow.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Yeah, when you thawed out, did you warm to each other? Shall we find out?
When the screen went back, I'd heard her voice, and I thought she was gobsmackingly good-looking. She was incredible when the screen went back. And I was well chuffed. I thought she was really nice.
When the screen went back and I saw David for the first time, I thought, oh my God, it's the same height as me.
One of the problems, I think, was Mass keeps falling asleep all the time. She's like a dormouse. On the plane we were travelling through, and she said, "Tell me about your lifestyle." So I started going on about my 27 years of existence on the planet. Turned around and she was fast asleep. I thought, oh, thanks very much. So anyway, I said, if you don't like it, tough. I decided I was going to go, and I've always fancied like going away for Christmas, and Lapland sounds like a great idea. And that sort of brings me up to date. That's my whole life story.
Dave would probably say I was like bagputs because I slept so much and I ate so much. But he doesn't understand it was the extremes of temperature. You'd go out and it was -40, and then you go in, it was boiling hot. I just wanted to sleep.
Mass and I went dancing one night, and everyone was waltzing, but I like dancing. I thought I'll give anything one try. And I asked her to dance, and I don't know whether it was the fact she was cold or she wasn't in the mood, but she said that she didn't want to. So I left it alone. By the end of the night, she danced with every man and his husky. And I didn't even put a sniff in there at all.
David didn't try it on with me at all. That's because I didn't give him the chance to. I'm a very sort of warm, touchy, sort of physical person, and I wasn't that way with David at all. I just didn't want him to have the wrong idea.
The most irritating thing about Mass for me was the fact that, despite the fact she was very good looking and she was very nice and she giggled all the time at all the right funny bits, it got a bit tiresome after a while. She was too nice. I would have liked a bit of a darker sense of humour in there as well. I suppose it's like fast food. You go and you get yourself a nice burger, but it goes cold after 3 minutes and it doesn't leave you very full.
If I was in a club and I'd never met Dave before and I'd seen him there, then I probably wouldn't talk to him.
If I met Mass in a nightclub, I would have steamed straight across, because she is very good looking, and asked her to dance and seen how it would have gone from then. And if it hadn't gone anywhere, I would have dropped her and moved on to somebody else. As it happens, we didn't get that close and we didn't get that far, and so she missed out on meeting the sexual heavyweight champion of the Western world.
I don't have a regular type that I go for at all. My type of men that I go for from one extreme to the other. But if I did have a type, I don't think Dave would be one of them.
If I hadn't met Mass on blind dates, I would have blown her out a lot earlier, because life's still living, she's a good friend, and I've got lots of good friends. I didn't come on blind date necessarily to meet another one.
I don't think I've ever dreamt of anywhere more beautiful than where we went. It was just fantastic, and there's no way that you could go someplace like that with somebody and not enjoy it. And you know, it was brilliant. We had such good fun, we really did, but there was no romance.
At the end of the day, I think all that we had together was we'd been on the same date. And she's a nice lass, but I think if we'd stayed together longer, she would have got my nerves big style.
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Ha! Oh,
what can I say? What can I say?
What can you say? I mean, well, I think the problem started on the plane.
I think the problem started when we screaming back by the sound of it.
Well, why did you persevere?
Because it was so cold. You go outside and I couldn't run fast enough to catch reindeer. There's no other females around. What could I
do? Well, you've got to admit, Massy did make the effort. I mean, even in the club, when you went dancing, they played waltzes, you know, and you refused to dance. And in your words, Dave...
Actually, you didn't ask me to dance.
I did ask...
Excuse me.
I did ask you to dance. First thing when we steamed in, I thought this will be a bit of a giggle, and you went...
No way, he's a liar. He's a liar.
Well, what about all the men at the end of the evening? In his words, you danced with every fella and his husky.
In the villages all around, you know, with the huskies and stuff queuing outside. I can't believe it.
And she danced with them all.
Sorry?
Did you dance with them all?
No, I didn't.
No, the nightclub closed.
You said on film there, I mean, she was smiling and giggling all the time, and it was beginning to wear you down.
Well, there's one thing that hasn't been mentioned, right, and I'll show you. If you sit next to Mass and you go... that is what happens. Now, one little clue from that, she hates whistling. Now, she hits you if you do it, and I can see it when we get married, obviously. 2 years down the line, that'll be a thumb on the head. 5 years down the line, when there's loads of little kids running about, she'll be running through the house with a baseball bat saying, "Oh, whistle, there's one of you!" Like.
I can't stand whistling. It does my brain in. And when Dave...
Oh, stop it.
Oh, 1, 2, 3.
You asked for it, Baz. I hated whistling. He did it more and more and more.
But I did the rest of it from out of arm's length, so she couldn't hit me. So I was all right.
Now, Dave, you said that you fancied her when you first saw her, and since then she says she couldn't fancy you in a million years. How do you feel about that?
I can live with that. She's lovely. She's a really nice lass, and somebody out there will be the ideal husband for a short while, and I think...
Well, thank you both very much for coming back on Blind Date and telling us all about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mass and Dave. Thank you.
There's a story about how we got on, and there we go.
Oh yeah, I want to hear that one. Keep that one.
Well, here's the thing, Mass. This is the first time we've had a chance to discuss anything about our date, because we kind of got whisked away. And here's the thing about it, and I'll just say this as a kind of an excuse for not to get.
Do you want me to leave the room?
No, you're very pleased. You have a chaperone and you have a referee, and you're potentially what I'm going to use in front of me when Massy hits me. The weird thing was, it was a TV show. First of all, anybody who went on trying to find their perfect partner was on a different planet. You're never going to get that. It was very much a TV game show. And if you met somebody, great. If you didn't meet somebody, the odds of Scylla getting a new hat for the wedding were really rare. But there were pressures on because you had the crew around you all the time. And so what happened with me and Massy, and I'll talk about it from Massy's point of view and get her reaction, is when you go on a date, they give you 2 days to be left on your own to see if you get on or don't get on. And then after that, they swoop in and you can hang around with them, but they ignore you for 2 days. And you're not allowed to talk to the crew because they don't want to spoil the dynamic. So we had 2 full days of discovering what the other person was like. Over to you, Mass, for your experience. And you don't have to hold back. We haven't talked for 30 years. In 30 years, one of us will be dead. And it's probably going to be me. You guys will be fine. So.
I just remember that day that they just left us for 2 days and they wouldn't talk to us. I recall that we were so well looked after. I don't recall seeing what the currency looked like, because everything was so taken care of. But I do remember that we were sat on our own having dinner and we were both like, but we want to join you guys. We want to join you guys because it was really fun, And it was surprising how big the crew was when you were away. You had someone taking care of the money, you had someone doing the camera. There was so many different members of the team. But I remember that when we left, because we went straight to the airport, and of course they said it's Christmas Day special, and I thought, we're going Caribbean. We're definitely going Caribbean. So my suitcase is full of summer stuff, bikinis, and then it was like, Lapland, no way. So they had to hire lots of stuff for me. I didn't sleep a wink we stayed at Heathrow, a hotel in Heathrow Airport. Didn't sleep a wink because I was so like, oh my God, what's going on? What have I done? I was just like really young and just stressed about stupid stuff then. And then we went away, so I was tired and I just kept sleeping. And it was the contrast of the cold and the warmth. And I just remember wanting to sleep all the time. And you guys went to the sauna. Do you remember that? And I remember walking into this sauna. It was like a spa that we went to. And there was this door and it was a sauna. It was all blacked out. And there was a drawing of a pair of pants with a line through it. And I was like, I'm not getting naked to get in there. And I remember like, no way am I doing that. But everything was really fun. But yeah, we wanted to be with others. I remember that because there's only so much that you can do on your own. I was like, but there wasn't thoughts or anything to tell.
No, there was no real magic. There was no special wedding that was on the cards. It just wasn't that kind of experience. I mean,
that way though. It wasn't. You didn't really have it wasn't that kind of place either, because there were so many activities. We went skiing one day, didn't we? We went well, I couldn't ski. I was just sat there watching everyone else. But we did so many activities.
We got ski what we call ski bikes, snow bikes.
Yeah, ski mobile.
Yeah, that's what we did. We used them. They were great. And we got husky rides. And do you remember?
Got a load of shit.
Yeah, that's right. That was lovely. Oh, husky poo, lovely. Do you remember we got taken to meet this? I'm going to say a shaman or a witch doctor, but over in Lapland, who then wanted us to become citizens of Lapland. So we had to have this drink he made in front of us, and it was pink, and it had blood, milk, and pee of reindeer in it, and we had to neck it. And it was just like health and safety didn't exist in those days. Otherwise, I would have sued them. So we had to go, that's really good. Am I a proper reindeer? I don't know what it was weird. But we can't. And as we're doing this, the camera crew are going, yeah, we're going to zoom in on his face. It's like, no, take the drink away. But we did get to eat reindeer later, so I kind of got revenge on that.
He marked us on the face, didn't on the forehead. He put a line on the forehead. It was kind of weird. And he drilled into the ice to fish, and I remember looking down the hole and it was like, woo, it was really far down.
It was. I mean, we had fish as well, didn't they? Cooked fish for us. It was. I mean, same as you. I'd been working out for a couple of months beforehand because I was expecting to go somewhere nice and hot. And when I hung out with Dominic Orange when I came back because we were isolated from everybody because we weren't allowed to bump into, but also being in the experience for like 4 weeks. So I didn't really care. I'd had enough, and I got drunk. So me and him just went to the bar and drank in the LTW or whatever, BBC bar. And we'd had about 4 pints. And then they said the call came for blind date. And I thought, oh my God, I'm bladdered. So I had to go and get a shower to snap out of it. And I got on really well with him. He got the trip to California, and I don't know if I can say this, but he made out in the toilets of the train on the way there. They were like rabbits, him and this chick. And we just had the most incredible date, and you can see we're all over each other when we came back. It was just like, yeah.
Oh, yes, yes.
He told me everything. Well, not everything, told me enough. And so it was great. I mean, we should have actually got him onto this call. Maybe we could have jumped in and shared some stuff. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So when we were there, I thought the whole experience was incredibly special. I really did. But it felt really like we were under the camera just to behave at the same time. You never know what's going to be on a film and used later on. Maybe that's because my background was in radio and stuff, and so I was very aware of the fact that you never know what you're doing when there's a camera around. But even so, more. I mean, I've worked with a lot of people in the in the entertainment world, and especially it's more so the UK ones, super paranoid about cameras. Super paranoid about anything they say to you in case it becomes a French page news of some description. Whereas in those days, I mean, the reason that we're knocking about together now is we didn't care then. Yeah, we just laughed, and the idea that the story could... In fact, there's another story which I can't really elaborate on, but somebody I was very good friends with, her story blew up and became front page news in the dailies. And she had paparazzi camping outside her house. Yeah. and chasing after her down the street for about a week or so. She then moved to London to hide with her sister. And I mean, that would have been, for me, would have blown my mind. You know, that would have been horrible to experience that. So I think we all came out a bit lucky that we get, on the occasion, recognised. Because if I get recognised for Blind Date, I think they're making it up. I think somebody's gone like that. He thinks he was on Blind Date, and they come, oh, you're on Blind Date? Wait, I'll say... No, yes, I was. How do you know? Oh, I remember you. I'm thinking 30 years ago. I don't remember me 30 years ago.
Yeah. There were things that were very specific, though, weren't there? So you would remember the red suit, the Irish accent, the belly dancing. I think Christmas Day special. I think there were certain things that made it stick in your mind. And like I said, it was on Christmas Day. Everyone was watching it. That's what we did.
It's what we did, and we've now got a WhatsApp group so we can share stories of what's happening since. I mean, that's 30 years ago. It didn't really make sense for us to get together like this before because we didn't have a 30-year gap. In another 10 years, I'll be pushing 70, even 80, even 90. Yeah, I mean, you guys don't look any different. I've turned into Morgan Freeman in the time since you've last met me.
Dave, you looking good.
Thank you. It's very kind, but I know you don't mean it because I remember what our date was like. Now, here's the thing. Go on.
Yeah, but just before we move on, I wanted you to tell me. Obviously, you guys came back the following week onto the show.
Oh yes.
You know, were you primed, or I mean, because it's always interesting to see how the couples react, and of course, she wants to show the take. The couple of minute video, and then she sort of talks to you. Were you primed, or how did that work?
How did it go for you, Massy? You know the little bit we're in a box. We went back the week before the show was filmed on the sofa to be, and I think we went at the same time. I don't know if we saw each other at that time. We might have done it.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think we did, because I remember, Dave, you and I having this conversation. Right, this is what we'll do. So you want to get on with your dancing, you want to get on with your DJing. Let's promote each other, right? So, and I remember when we went into that interviews separately, they cut a lot of stuff at the moments, and you came across like you, because I was like, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't say it like this. It was a little bit like that. So when we went on to the second half of the show, to me, it felt like everything turned around, because you weren't being nice to me. That's how it felt in the audience, and I just felt like you were the funny guy and you were putting me down in a funny way, but it hurt. It really hurt my feelings because everyone was laughing and I was like, I can't say anything. I just look like, oh, the girl that's so full of herself that she thinks she's all pretty and you know. And I remember looking for my brother in the audience and he put his hand up and I was like, I want to come with you. I don't want to be here. It was really horrible. I felt so upset. And it was silly. It was silly.
Well, I apologise for making you feel like that. I can say that now.
Oh, no. It's the way I took it, right? So, so I take responsibility for that. But at that time, I felt like mortified because I was like, that's not... Because I remember saying, if you saw Dave outside, would you talk to him? And I said, if I saw Dave outside, I probably wouldn't talk to him unless he talked to me first. So they cut that. I probably wouldn't talk to him. I look like a right bitch, you know? And that's how I felt like they were trying to portray me as. And I was like, I've got no hope in hell. And then you started like, guess if you do this and you whistle. And I was just really upset. I thought, I can't do anything to make me look right now. I just look like this bitch from hell who just, he thinks too much of herself. That's how I felt. So when we came out, I didn't even look for work after that because I just thought everyone's going to think that I'm just a nasty person. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. And I feel really bad. The 30 years of guilt is just catching up with me.
Oh no, darling! Don't even think that. That was I was in my 20s. That was my experience, and it was lack of confidence, and all those sort of things. And the TV, it was just, I just felt like I was, God, I'm feeling it again now. Like, wow, I need to go back and heal that.
But here's the thing: they edit it to make it stand out, and it makes you realise just how much we are only just part of a show.
Yeah,
and they are going to get the most that they can out of everything. Because similarly, I mean, when it came to the bit where we're in the little box and we're talking about stuff, they were winding me up all the time. They were winding me up. They're saying, you've got to go for it. You've got to go for it. And I was just like happy to go. In fact, all I wanted to say was, what a great belly dancer. And she's going to be very talented. You should hire for gigs. And that's pretty much what I was there to say. And yeah, I mean, this is the thing about the paparazzi stuff, and this is the thing about modern press. I mean, they make heroes and villains because they've got a narrative to share.
That's right.
When you put yourself in the lion's den like that, I think you run the risk that you don't have control over what goes out next. And I think that in the world we're in now, I mean, you see the likes of Philip Schofield and a ton of other people, Greg Wallace recently. And I'm not going to stand and turn around and say these guys are great guys. But when you're in the public eye, the narrative that people use from you is the one that sticks in the public.
Yeah.
Terry, your thoughts on that? Because you've watched it and you've seen us both tell you the exact story about what was going on. What's your thoughts as an insider on the outside looking in at this couple that never had babies?
Yeah, no, well, I didn't make it through the second week, so I didn't even watch it.
Yeah, like F you.
No, I'm only joking. I'm only joking. Listen, listen, I watched it obviously because I knew you guys, and I it's interesting again, like you, Mass. I mean, it's sad that you felt like that. To me, it didn't come across like that I remember, but I mean. They didn't want you coming in and saying pleasantries about each other because that doesn't, get the crowd going around. So the more, there always needs to be a baddie and a goodie nearly, you know what I mean? And that can revolve. And I mean, obviously that's what happens. And I mean, even if you think about, you're talking about the couple of presenters there, we were talking earlier about would you go on Love Island or I'm a Celebrity? Again, you're left to the producer's discretion and which bits they show about you, and you've no control over that whatsoever. So, you don't want to go in there and be nothing. So you've got to interact, and then it depends which bits they cut. As you say, Matt, by cutting out 2 or 3 words, it's a completely different meaning in what you said.
Yeah, absolutely. But I didn't realise, Dave, that you'd had a few drinks before you came on the sofa.
I was off my face. I had 4 beers, 4 pints, and then I had about 2 coffees because the whole thing had been from the minute you get the phone call saying you're going to be on the show, you're in a world like the Truman Show, where literally everywhere you go, everything you do, because you're sworn to secrecy, you can't tell your family, can't tell your friends at all until the show's aired. So I couldn't even say what was going on. Even when I came back after our date, I couldn't tell anybody anything. because you're not allowed to. And so you kind of, it's a lot of pressure to be in your head. Even those days when we were daft and we didn't really have that much else to worry about. And so I just needed to let off steam. And getting to the sofa day at the beginning of the day had kind of felt like the home straight, like it doesn't really matter anymore to me. But clearly it did, because that was the one that everyone's going, oh, let's just see what happens. And when it all finished and I came home, the strangest. I'm going to ask you this question. What's the number one question that people asked you after seeing you on Blind Date?
Who did you pick and why? Who did you go for? Why did you pick that person?
What was your experience, Terry? What was the thing that people said to you most afterwards?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Mass mentioned it. I mean, everybody said, listen, was it a fix? And I said, yes, most definitely. I was never going to win. No. They do ask that. They do ask it. I don't reply again. I suppose the most asked question I get is, do you make up your own answers? Because people are intrigued by, I suppose they only see it in TV, and in their heads, that's the first time the person is being asked a question by Mass. Yeah. And and people are, able to rhyme off an answer, which in true life isn't possible. Obviously, I mean, unless you're very, very, very funny. So that tends to be it. So it's nice explaining. I think I found it nice explaining to people a little bit about the background, and they have been genuinely interested. That there's so much secrecy, and b so much time putting into saying, listen, right, let's make sure these guys don't look complete idiots. We can look that way ourselves, but give them the question and to do that. And do you remember your questions that who made up your questions, or who helped you with the questions?
So when I was asked to come up with 15 questions, and there was a pastor at my
15?
15, yeah. So I was like, guys, you need to help me. I was in the office. My office was so supportive until I got made redundant, and I thought I got made redundant because I was on the show, and I was like, is it because I was on
I did. I got made redundant because I was on the blooming show.
Yours is real. And in fact, I bumped into that owner of the business not too long ago. I said, you sacked me because I was on Blind Date. He went, no, Massy, I never did. It was never because of that. So I made him buy me a bottle of champagne in the pub.
Wow, that's good. I'm sure Dave will have to do the same now because he offended you so much in the
program. I'll have to send it in the post for Christmas for next year.
Oh no! Please don't think like that, darling. It was just the way I was at the time. I was just pretty sensitive.
Well, I'm sorry about that. What I got was two questions, of course. How did you get on? Was the first question, and the second question from everybody is, what was Scylla like? Yeah, everybody wanted to know what Scylla was like. It was just a non-stop stuff, and it was really weird because we'd been through this experience, and it was kind of like, it's unfair to say survivors of the Titanic, but we're waiting for a really tough experience of some description where you've got cameras there and exposed to the world and so on. And so they would ask what Scylla's like and then walk on. And they had no interest in the experiences that you'd been through, the person you became, the rest of the contestants, unless they really knew you. That was it. And so you were just a reference point for somebody more famous, which I found hilarious. But I'm glad. I mean, Scylla was a beautiful, lovely lady, and the show was carried so much by the fact her talent and her character made it like it was a safe space to be in. And I'll always be grateful for that. I mean, it felt comfortable to be there. But most of all, I mean, one of the reasons we're here, we haven't got Tom, unfortunately, but we'll probably find you pop off after watching this. He'll go, oh, why do you do it again with me in it? Because we've covered all that stuff. Maybe next time. I thought if it had been any different, I don't think the energy that we feel between us, like long lost friends, like a school reunion, and it's not a school reunion, it's a TV show reunion. The energy is something really special. I can feel it here. And I know that if we were out, we'd be drinking a beer, laughing. And we have now, after 30 years, we can say we have become lifelong friends.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. Let's go for a pipe. Are you too far away, you guys?
Well, I'll send you.
I'd definitely go to Dubai. I've never been to Dubai, so listen, I'd love to go.
You have to go to Dubai, and as soon as you get here,
I've never been to Dubai. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get on a stage and bring our partners and see if they would choose us against everybody else who was on there. I guarantee it'll be a no. I guarantee. Now you've got a lovely. Go on.
Yeah, Dave, I was going to ask, what are you doing now? What do you work? Do you have family? I mean, what is happening with you now?
So since then, I left the UK to go looking for my fortune, like Dick Whittington, with my sandwiches in a bag and my cat, but I'm allergic to cats. And so I came over to Dubai. I was DJing in a bar, which was like a step down from really being in on the radio. But as I was DJing in the bar, Dubai in those days was it was an emerging place. 30 years ago, it wasn't really in anyone's radar. So if you're DJing and looking after people who are out there in contracts, it's quite an important part of a community. And so during that time, a radio station started up. They asked me to join. I became a breakfast presenter, a weekend presenter first, then I did breakfast and various other shows. And then a couple of years later, I became a station manager. But during that time, I got a chance to be involved in lots of other shows. And I hosted Dubai Rugby Sevens for 20 years. Wow. I did all the stuff I wanted to do in entertainment. I got to do. And so I've got no regrets about everything. But the only challenge is I would have loved to have been able to do it in the UK. But I didn't. I did it in a foreign place, which now is home to me after 30 years. I feel more at home in Dubai than anywhere else in the world. I've got a beautiful wife, Aziza, gorgeous daughter, Maya. I've got two dogs, one of whom is active and mad. The other one is looking towards walking towards a light any day now. And I'm sure one day that'll be the same for all of us. But I go back, my mum's still with us. I go back to the UK when I can. I Zoom her every night like a good boy. And I'm still very good friends with all the people who stayed in contact. But the hardest thing I think in those days was there was no social media. So you had to re-find everybody.
Right, and you weren't blocked, so you would have found me.
I will be now, I'm sure. But there we go. But Terry is easy to find. You haven't changed a bit, my friend. You look exactly the same smile, same humor, same great guy. So it's a real honor and a pleasure to connect with you guys again. Thank you so much for coming back on.
Thank you so much for organising this. This is amazing. It's been such fun as well. Thank you. I've loved it.
Yeah,
same here.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I mean, it would be lovely to meet up again at some stage if life permits. But it has been lovely catching up with you two in as person as much as possible. But yeah, lovely day. Thanks for organising.
Coming to Dubai now. I'm on my way.
Fantastic. Here's the thing, right? Before we go back into the blind date stuff, I see the paparazzi world we're in right now. I mean, we scrambled together photos that we could remember to find of the show. But nowadays, everybody lives online. And so this is the first time we've caught up with all the stories about what it was really like. Our lives would have been lived on social by now if we'd gone back in those days. So if they were to bring it back again, would you go on with the world that we're in now versus the world that we're in then? Because social media would flash up, the paparazzi would flash up, and we know how much that the news media can destroy everything if they decide to. Would you still do it? Look at Terry's face.
I would. Until you said they would destroy everything, I thought, would I? Yeah, I would. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
same here.
Fun.
I think it would. And listen, I mean, there was no badness to it. There was no hassle to it. Obviously, the paparazzi or the social media world can choose whether they like you or not. But listen, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I came home, and maybe we're skipping on a bit too, when I came home, I mean, there was two types of people who loved it and said, well done, we loved you on it. And people just said, oh, you're a complete dick. What did you go in that for? You looked real... I don't know whether I can curse in this, but you know, you look like a real.
Say what you want.
Yeah, he said, you know, so there's two people. People loved it, and they said, "Oh, you were great." People hated it and said, "Oh, you're such a dick," and go for that. So hey, you can't win them all, and if you got to have thick skin if you're going to put yourself out there.
You have to. So knowing what we know now, and we all agree that we'd go on blind date if it came up again, and we're in that situation. What about the paparazzi shows that are on now? Knowing who you are now, with what you've experienced, and with the family and all the rest of it, and the stuff that you've had, would you go on a modern reality TV show if there's an opportunity to do so?
Yeah, well, I don't think I'd fit into Love Island, to be honest.
I think we're all too old for that.
No, do you remember they had old people on it? They had old people blind date, and it was kind of like their last chance.
There was, yeah.
Too old for that, too old for that, mate. No. I would definitely go on it again. Definitely. I think it was really good fun. The only one I wouldn't go on to, and I saw it the other night and called me a prude, was Naked Attraction. What the frig is that?
Yes. You know,
different generation.
Exactly. And I mean, in those days, I might have looked okay. Nowadays, Mr. Potato Man is not getting naked anywhere, at least not in front of me.
I think my dad in heaven would not be very proud.
No, I don't think I'd be very proud to be on it, to be honest with you. So,
Dave, I think, just to answer your question, I mean, the reason why you went on Blind Date was obviously to further your, career on the big screen, So I sort of feel that unless that is your goal, there's no point in going on it now, because, if you look at the ones going on Love Island, as soon as they go on, their social media followers, explode and they get all sorts of things. And I mean, there are so many people that have done well out of it. There's lots of people you've never heard of again. But if that's what you want, then that's what you want. If you want to live a quiet suburban life and nobody to bother you, then hey, listen, it's not for you.
No, I agree with you. I remember reading a book about the making of Big Brother, and it was all about the fact that they got tons of psychologists who work with the people before they go into the Big Brother house, and they work with the people when they come out of the Big Brother house. Because what happens is you go on, you experience this incredible blind datey type experience, but it's non-stop with cameras in the toilet and everything. But when you come out, you don't know whether the country has chosen that your biggest evil git on the planet. You come out thinking everyone's going to clap and say, well done, but they've voted you out. And so there's nowhere to hide because everyone's got their own opinion. I found that when we did Blind Date, because it's filmed slightly in advance, it was on Christmas Day, and then a week later we had returned from our trip. So I went out on Boxing Day shopping. And I went to Newcastle city centre just shopping, and it was like a zombie movie. Everyone recognised me because in those days everybody watched stuff, and they just went. And the thing was, they weren't saying, "Wow, there's that guy." They're just going. And I can't work out whether it's because they think I'm in Lapland or it's just because that's how they deal with people. And it kind of scared me a lot. Because it just makes you think, imagine if you got celebrity all the time and you become currency and everything you do, people have got an opinion on you, good, bad or ugly. And if you don't take a selfie with everybody in the room, then one person's got a story about how horrible you are. So we're quite lucky. Nobody had phones in those days. We just had a camera like that, a phone went like that. That's the only phones that we had to be able to call somebody up.
Yeah, I was out with my wife and some friends on Saturday night in the pub, and a 60-plus-year-old woman come up and said, you're from Blind Date, get your belly out and wiggle it there. That's 30 years later, yeah.
Wow.
But I live in a small, it's a pretty small community. There's 20,000 people, so everybody knows what everybody else is doing before they know what they're doing,
How long has she been stalking you, Terry, to be able to say that?
Well, that's the other thing. And you did talk earlier about, people going on Blind Date to be famous, because, of course, Amanda Holden went on Blind Date. That was one of her first shows.
Do you know, I've got an Amanda Holden story. In Dubai, I went along to a magazine I'd been working on for their 25th anniversary. I started chatting up some blonde chick who was sat next to me. I'm a blind chick, but the one I preferred in this case was the blonde. So I'm chatting away to her, and I said, so what do you do for a living? She said, I'm with the band, because there's a band on stage. I went, okay, what? She said, I work in PR. I'm with the lead singer of the band. I went, okay. And so we talked for about 2.5 hours about how she should move to Dubai, and the opportunities for people working in PR were great. And if she's got connections, her and her boyfriend should move the band out here and everything. So we talked. I wasn't creepy. I was just chatting. And then she moved on, and we carried on. Later on, I saw her on TV. It was bloody Amanda Holden. I had no idea, because I'd not watched British TV for 30 years. And this was about...
You got her where she is today.
Without me, she would have been with that guy from the band. She clearly stepped up a bit. I didn't realize, I think she just split with Les Dennis at that point. So she was kind of finding her own space. So that tells you how long ago it was. I had no clue until I started seeing it on reruns of TV exactly how big a name she was, you know? And I remember there was a guy on Blind Date who got a job on a Top of the Pops wannabe show where he was a cleaner. Do you remember?
Window cleaner.
Yeah, window cleaner, something like that. And we kind of humiliated him, to be honest with you. He's quite a funny guy, but they made him look stupid and he didn't get his break. So it was a double-edged sword going on to these shows, I think, more than anything. What about you, Massy? What when you came off the show, what happened? Obviously, do you still get recognized to this date as well with people?
It's amazing. There were two main reasons how I got recognised. Was one for the belly dancing, because obviously I still do belly dance, and I was full-time professional belly dancer at that time. So I did get recognised a lot, and then and also for being Persian as well. So in the Persian community, wow, everywhere. And even these days, if I ever mention it, people go, I remember that. I remember you now, just purely because of the belly dancing being Persian. It's so weird. And also, it was shown on Christmas Day. You know, it was a Christmas Day special. So we were all at home then. You know, watching it. Do you remember the lottery numbers that came up at the bottom? And I was like, get off my show.
Yeah, you're hiding the huskies.
Hiding the bit where we fall in the snow.
Yeah, I know you see as our heads just falling over. That was terrible. And we should have sued. So I left UK maybe about 6 months later, something like that. And in fact, I know exactly when it was. It was September. I got a job in Dubai in September, and I used the notoriety to be able to meet lots of chicks. I've got to be honest, but also get some DJ gigs. But then you found after about 3 months, it kind of went a bit quiet. I actually got lined up for the clothes show. Don't forget your toothbrush, MTV. And The Big Breakfast, and all of them. It was, remember in those days you had a VHS. I'm just going to show you what I've been eating. So here's my shortbread for my Christmas. So about this size of VHS, which you'd send off to people in a post, and a letter which you'd have to handwrite or type if you're showing off, and then you'd have to wait. And sometimes it didn't come back. Sometimes it got replies. So we went to and fro. I got lined up for these 4 shows with all of them turning around saying, what else have you done? I was like, well, nothing else. This is my chance to show you. And they all sent me Dear Johns just as 3 months later, apart from the clothes show where I had an audition and I made a complete donkey of myself. Because what do I know about fashion? I just BS'd my way. I said my sister was a fashion designer because at the time she was making stuff. And so I got in there and we all had to talk about our favourite fashion designers. And when you talk about, I like going to Next. That's not what they want to hear. It was pathetic. So that didn't turn into anything. So I was done. So then I lost my job at the BBC because we had a fallout because they said, well, you clearly want to go somewhere else and do it somewhere else. And I'm thinking, well, I want to stay here and be bigger. So in the end, I gave up and went to Dubai. And all the breaks I wanted to get from the UK happened for me in Dubai. Oh. And so I was really lucky. I was working in radio, TV. I got to work with James Brown, Spice Girls. I was hosting big events, all that stuff that I would have got in the UK, but I never got a chance to. So I kind of got it out of my system. After about 10 years, I'd hit all the targets I wanted to hit, so I could just chill out and relax. So I'm glad I did the choices I did. But to go back to the show, so once we'd come off it, once it had all been done, did you feel an anticlimax or did you still feel a buzz? And when did the buzz stop? Or has it stopped yet?
Buzz for me hasn't stopped. I mean, every time it comes up, there is a slight buzz to it. But no, I mean, I think it was such a good experience. It was fun. I don't have any regrets about it. I thought at the time I was a little bit upset because of you, Dave, but but I loved it and I wouldn't change a thing. I thought it was really great. I'd go on it again.
Definitely. No, I wonder I'm sure they don't do a reunion show where they get everybody together. This is who you could have picked. Because there's no way. I couldn't stand there now and try and look attractive. From about the neck up, I'm kind of all right, maybe. At a push if you're not looking. That's it. I don't do it. So when we look back at those shows, and we look back at those days, and I haven't asked you, Terry, you obviously got propositioned by an old dear in the pub. That's not a bad one. Have a few pints, you never know. Hold a heartbeat, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's definitely been a buzz. And listen, it is, I think, a life-changing thing And I don't mean that in any spiritual way or any massive way. You know, I mean, it's now wherever I go or wherever I do, somebody somewhere will always say, "Oh, well, that's the guy in Blind Date," and there'll be a bit of fun about it, and you know, or I'll be walking and or I'll be at a conference and somebody will start did it. You know, and listen, I don't mind it, love it. It's nice to be recognised in that side of things. I don't think I would like the constant pressure.
No.
The other thing, and I must say this, was that I was I was in a strange position because my wife was Miss Northern Ireland.
Wow.
So that was she was Miss Northern Ireland the year that the program was recorded. And while we'd seen each other a little bit beforehand, it was nothing steady until after we'd recorded the program. So we were dating on Christmas Day in a room with my parents, watching the Christmas special going out, you know, very early in our relationship, and we're still married, so I mean it didn't affect us that much, thankfully. But it's sort of being with her and her being then a former Miss Northern Ireland put us into places where I got to meet these people, which was nice as well. And then we would say, "Oh, you were on Blind Date," so it was a great conversation starter. I mean, I don't know, did you guys meet anybody from Blind Date?
Massy?
Else, but you definitely had the lifestyle then. Wowza.
Amazing. Well, I hung around with a couple of people I'd met because I met them at the auditions. When we came back from our date and we got a chance to actually meet with mix of people, I met a couple of people then. One guy was a really funny guy who was a DJ in one of the local nightclubs, one big nightclub called the Mall, and he was very popular, and he didn't get picked, funnily enough, but he was a very, very funny guy. I hung around with him, and there's another lady that I got close to for a time. But other than that, I left the country. And I kind of didn't really bump into people. What was really strange is going to Dubai is because it was a Christmas TV show, people would video Christmas telly and send it overseas to their family. Oh, this is what you missed on Christmas Day. So when I arrived, people were saying, "You're the Blind Date guy," and I'm thinking, I'm in Dubai, the other side of the world. We've hardly got telly. How do you know that? And it's because of that. But nobody got the second episode because nobody would film the second follow-up. It was just like that one. So I said, "How did he get on?" I'm like, if I had to turn the clock back, I would go on Blind Date again. But since then, I've had no need, interest, or drive to go on any reality TV show since then. That was my lot. I look at it now and I just think, oh my goodness, what are they thinking? I'm a celebrity eating spat. No, just stop. You don't need it that much. Nobody needs it that much.
Well, I have a story, I have an anecdote to tell you. I don't know, Dave, if you remember, but before, just a couple of months before we filmed the Blind Date program, I was entered by my friends into a competition called Ulster's Most Eligible Bachelor.
Right.
In which I told a couple of jokes but I only came second, so I wasn't voted also most eligible bachelor. So when we came, obviously they sort of ask you, you know, have you a party piece or what do you want to do? And I said, listen, I'd tell a few jokes, and the researcher said, well, tell me the jokes, and they weren't great jokes. He says, no. He said, no, it's not working. He says, can you do anything else? And I said, well, from a very young age, my dad could wobble my belly. Belly dance is a little bit excessive for what I do. But I said, listen, I can wobble my belly. And you could see, and it was only after I thought he could see him click, because he obviously knew that you did belly dancing. So he could see this will work. So he said, yeah. He says, that's what you want to do. Show me. So I showed him. And then that's obviously where Stella was asking me to do it, you know.
And do you know what? In the backstage, I remember one of the guys saying to me about accents. I said, oh, I really love accents. I love the Irish accent. And he had the same reaction. Aha. And I was like, what's he going on about? So they're already fixing it.
But listen, I mean, at 7:30 every Christmas night at 7:30, I have to take my belly out and have to wobble it just to remind people for the last 30 years. And this is going to be the last one in 2 days' time.
So that you're going to be free. If I got my belly out now, it would never go back again. So that's not going to happen. Guys, it's been an honor and a pleasure catching up with you. I would love to stay in contact, and I'm sure at some point we'll have a laugh about this in the future. But meanwhile, it's been a Laura laugh. Massy and Terry, it's been an honour. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Lots of
Thank you very much, Dave.
Christmas.
Keep in touch.
Happy Christmas.
Bye.
Well, that's all we have time for this week, I'm afraid, but we will be back next week to see how Laura and George and Ian and Kate enjoy themselves. And of course, we'll be arranging some more blind dates. So until then, it's ta-ra for now. Ta-ra now!